Will the 49ers beat the Packers? Glad that we're back with one of these shows for the first time in a good 3 weeks because, well, the 49ers haven't played a meaningful game in a while. They play a very meaningful game on Saturday night at Levi's Stadium. So the prediction article for The Athletic is out. I'll deliver my prediction for the game tomorrow, but today I'm going to answer, will the 49ers beat the Packers, but not until after I go through a few of the keys for this game. By the way, beautiful, beautiful night in San Francisco. Crystal clear. Now, it might not be crystal clear in the Bay Area on Saturday for the game. There's another line of rain moving in, so it might be wet during this game, but that is nothing to stress about. Football is meant to be played in at least partially adverse conditions. You can't have something like this all the time, but look at that. The San Francisco waterfront. I promise I'm going to get you shots of Coit Tower, City Hall when they're lit up, but I checked this evening. I was out by City Hall and it wasn't lit up yet in 49ers colors. And as you can see, Coit Tower in this shot is not lit up yet. We're panning to it right now, There it is. Coit Tower is on the very right. It is just lit up in standard lighting. It's not lit up in 49ers red and gold. But at some point, they're going to light these landmarks up in San Francisco, and we'll get the nice shots of them in for you. Anyway, will the 49ers beat the Packers? Be sure to check out this up on The Athletic. Nick Bosa and the 49ers aim to ride their rest advantage to another win over the Packers. How are they going to be able to do that? Well, key one, stop the run. Aaron Jones, 4 straight 100-yard games. The 49ers have yet to give up a 100-yard rusher. But the way that Green Bay is delivering right now, they're 8-3 over their past 11 games, despite having a mediocre to bad defense. They're hogging the football. They're number 2 in time of possession. They were number 28 over the first 7-8 weeks of the season. Since week 9, they are number 2 in time of possession. Aaron Jones has ripped off 4 straight 100-yard games. Jordan Love is delivering and dealing from the play action. They're keeping defenses off balance. Well, the first way to prevent your defense from being off balance is to stop the run. The problem is that the 49ers rank number 26 against the run this season. That is efficiency per play, EPA per play in stopping the run. That's a problem, but the good news is they're going to get Eric Armstead back. The 49ers are as healthy as they've ever been for a playoff game. They're going to be missing Cleveland Farrell, who might be an important piece against the run, but Chase Young's got to step up. And Dre Greenlaw is injured technically with the Achilles tendonitis, but he's trending toward playing. He's questionable officially for the 49ers. He'll also be a big piece of the run-stopping effort. But you got to man up. Armstead is impactful. He's dominated the Packers. Nick Bosa is one of the best in football. Obviously, the other side of the ball, Chase Young, he's got to play that way against the run. And I think they've been pleasantly surprised with the way that he's set edges against the run so far with the 49ers. Now he's got to show it against the Green Bay Packers. Now he's got to take a heavier snap load because Cleveland Farrell was doing a lot of that base down stuff. And he's got to set the edges against Aaron Jones and company to make sure that the Packers are as one-dimensional as possible. If that goal is executed, key 2 is the next one for the 49ers to check off the list. And maybe it will be the first one, depending on if the Packers come out throwing or running. But the coverage combinations on the back end are going to have to be pristine for the 49ers in this game. You look back on the 49ers defensive performance this season, and I know that a lot of it we correlate with rest. Whenever they've been rested, they've been playing really well. But one other thing that happened in between the loss to Cincinnati, which marked the final defeat of the 3-game losing streak, and the surge, the 6-game win streak that started in Jacksonville after the bye, one other thing that happened is the 49ers benched their nickelback, Isaiah Oliver. They decided to bring Ambry Thomas into the game in nickel situations, move Diamador Lenore from outside cornerback to the slot. And what that did is it gave the 49ers more change of direction, more quickness against the slot receivers that have really taken over the NFL over the past few years. And I think that's been a big, big deal in terms of the 49ers fixing their pass defense. So the coverage combinations, you got to make sure that they are on point here against the Green Bay Packers. That's because Green Bay is throwing the ball extremely well this season with the guy on the right, Jordan Love. I mean, it's the first you could toss the first couple months out the window because Jordan Love has found his stride over the past 11 games. And he's found his stride in a way that will roast defenses who are on their heels. The defense has to be on its toes. That's why stopping the run is so important. But he's also going to be able to find the open receiver because he's got so many capable weapons. They're about 4 or 5 deep at receiver. They're 2 deep at tight end. They've got Aaron Jones in the backfield. The Packers are a lot like the 49ers. This is kind of a mirror image situation in that they have adaptable skill position weapons running out of play action that will punish you for overplaying any one target. So you can't say, oh, I want to take out Romeo Dobbs. Everything will be okay. Because no, they're just going to go to somebody like Dontavian Wicks. They're just going to go to somebody like Christian Watson, right? This Green Bay team is good enough to make you pay for focusing too many resources on just one weapon. And Jordan Love has been good enough to make sure that that execution on the Green Bay offensive end happens. So, put quite simply, the 49ers, I think, need to come to terms with the fact that they're probably not going to shut Green Bay out. There's probably going to be some scoring on the other side of the ball just because this is a high-performing offense. These are the top 2 offenses in the league ever since week 9. And when the 49ers come to terms with that, which I think they've already come to terms with, when they realize this is a game of containment against Green Bay, hold them to about 20 points, well, then the 49ers offense can go to work. And that's where key 3 comes into play. Distribute the ball efficiently. The 49ers are uncoverable. They've got too many good skill position weapons. Now, neutralize Kenny Clark in the middle, neutralize Rashawn Gary, the great Green Bay edge rusher. Both of those guys are top 10 pass rushers from their defensive line positions. Neutralize them either through double teams, chips, whatever you want, or through scheme, right? Make sure Brock Purdy is able to escape the pocket, or make sure Brock Purdy can get to his reads quickly enough so that Kenny Clark is not blowing up a play the way that he did in week 3 of the 2021 season. Big number 97 there in the middle. Once you overcome that as the 49ers, then you can distribute the football to receivers who will definitely be open, especially Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, George Kittle working from the tight end position. Quay Walker is not a good coverage linebacker. He's given up 500 yards this season in coverage. 500 yards for a linebacker. Devondre Campbell, he's also given up a lot, 135.7 opposing passer rating on throws into his coverage. So both of these Green Bay linebackers have struggled. I think any linebacker in the league would struggle against Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and the weapons the 49ers can throw out there. So it's up to Brock Purdy to distribute the ball efficiently and take advantage of the mismatches that will be there because Green Bay does have that number 27 ranked defense in the NFL per DVOA. It's not good. It's the biggest advantage that the 49ers have in this game. That should lead directly into time of possession. I said Green Bay's been number 2 in time of possession since week 9. They've legitimately shielded their defense from exposure out on the field. So they've turned a bad defense into a mediocre one because the defense can't do you any damage when it's standing on the sideline. Both of these teams go for big possession to keep their defenses on the sideline, but the 49ers have the better defense than the Packers. So what you want to do as the 49ers is get their defense and keep it out there. Make their defense keep playing. That's when you're going to destroy them in the terms of yardage and points, but also where you're going to keep their own offense sidelined. So time of possession is so important in this football game, just given the dynamics, given the fact that these are the 2 best offenses in the league going against each other. TOP, time of possession, going to be very, very important. Finally, special teams. Neither of these 2 teams is good at special teams. Anders Carlson's a rookie kicker for the Packers. He's been missing kicks. Jake Moody's coming off of 2 misses against the Rams, rookie kicker for the 49ers. So the kicking position, I think a little bit of a question mark for both teams, but the Packers ranked number 31 in special teams DVOA, and the 49ers are number 25 or number 26. Very similar setup to what we saw in 2021 when the 49ers went into Lambeau, right? That year, the 49ers had a bad special teams unit, but Green Bay's was even worse. How did it play out? Well, the 49ers blocked the field goal, blocked the punt for a touchdown with Jordan Willis and Talanoa Hufanga scooping it up, and Robbie Gould, who never missed in the postseason, delivered in the icy Green Bay air to send everybody home. So the 49ers special teams won the day against Green Bay 2 seasons ago. 49ers need to make sure they don't screw it up on special teams this time around, especially if it is a little bit wet at Levi Stadium. We remember the last really wet playoff game that probably don't need to mention, NFC Championship game against the New York Giants 2011 season. It was a little bit wet against Seattle last year in the wild card round. And ultimately, I think that's how this game is going to play out. The question is, will the 49ers beat the Packers? The answer is yes, they will beat the Packers. They're 10-point favorites. I'm going to give the score prediction tomorrow. But I do think in general, though, this game should be close for about the first half, maybe the first 2.5, 3 quarters. But ultimately, the 49ers have more offensive firepower and a much better defense than Green Bay. And it should play out according to that. So that is my prognostication. It's my answer to the question. Score-wise, though, we're going to have to wait until tomorrow. That's when I'm going to give my predicted score for 49ers Packers. For now, you can check out the preview article on The Athletic. I've tweeted it several times. Maybe we can toss it into the description. Mike, if you can do that, that'd be awesome. Mike is saying that there's drama between RG3 and Jay Gruden. I've also heard that there's drama related to Brock Purdy. I saw some of the comments made about Brock Purdy, that there's 7 terrific quarterbacks in the National Football League playoffs remaining, and Brock Purdy, obviously a shot at Brock Purdy. And to me, it's just getting stupid. People are just getting vindictive because, again, so many people, and you could send it to all of them. So many people try to give me a hard time over the course of this offseason regarding Brock Purdy. And all of those people have been wrong at every single juncture. And now it's just gotten to the point where it's almost like a cultural thing where, oh my God, we've been wrong on Brock Purdy so many times. We can't let him be good. We can't let that truth happen. But sorry, the truth is the truth. And Brock Purdy has delivered the 4th best season in NFL history statistically. Adjusted net yards per attempt plus, that is the adjusted net yards per attempt, adjusted for era. The only season's better than the one that we just saw from Brock Purdy. 2004 Peyton Manning, 1984 Dan Marino, 2011 Aaron Rodgers, and Brock Purdy's number 4. So to insinuate that Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff are better quarterbacks is just absolute insanity. It's gone from people trying to say, oh, Patrick Mahomes is better than Brock Purdy, which might be fair. Mahomes certainly didn't put up better numbers this year, but it's gone from that to people trying to say that Baker Mayfield's better than Brock Purdy. And at this point, it's just willfully trying to look stupid. That's all it is at this point. It's on a surface level, that's what's happening. It is people just running up into a wall trying to look foolish down the road. Brock Purdy's an elite quarterback. Jordan Love has been playing like an elite quarterback. We've got a hell of a matchup coming up at Levi's Stadium this week. And it's funny, I said all that, and now yes has been emblazoned underneath me. That's the answer to the question, will the 49ers beat the Packers? I'm ready to answer a few questions here on this beautiful Thursday night. Speaking of beautiful Thursday nights, 49ers Q&A, this is how beautiful the Bay Area has looked this week. Spencer Coakley, Baker Mayfield is better than Dak Prescott. I'll give him that without a doubt. I wouldn't be so sure, but to each his own. I don't think that's a debate that we need to be having. I do think it's a funny comment to put up. Post your questions. Dolomite is over the Purdy hate. It really is crazy. It's like it's very forced at this point. It's manufactured. People are going out of their way to make snide remarks about a quarterback who just put up the 4th best season statistically ever. I thought America was a country of underdog stories where people liked the Rudy story, where people would say, "Oh, hey, look, this guy might be a little shorter than your typical gunslinging NFL quarterback." And the league didn't recognize it at first. And he went pick number 262, very last pick in the draft. Came from number 3 on the depth chart to just surging ahead of the entire league. I thought that was a story that people felt good about, that people wanted to hear. And I still think the vast majority of people like that. But there is, maybe it's because of social media, there is a very vocal, jealous minority that just cannot shut its mouth about this, that has been wrong progressively more and more over time, more and more wrong over time. It's kind of snowballed. And I don't know if it's shame or what it is, but they just have to get it out there. They're going out of their way to attack Brock Purdy, who just sits there humbly and executes every single week. He's not talking trash. He's not running his mouth. He shows up and he plays. What else is he supposed to do? So for Brock Purdy to be taking arrows for absolutely no reason when it completely defies what the statistics and what the performance, the game tape says, it just doesn't make sense. Spencer Coakley. I don't think there's genuine Brock Purdy hate. I just think some people are delusional. Yeah, but where does the delusion come from? There has to be motivation behind the delusion. And when you see some of the tweets and some of the comments, people will literally try to single out Brock Purdy and attack him even when there's nothing to attack, or especially when it doesn't make sense to attack in that context. So there's something driving the animosity and the negativity toward Brock Purdy. It really is a weird, weird phenomenon. Zuni asks, would Moody be the 49ers downfall, or do you believe that the 49ers will have the opportunity to be ahead and not have to worry about Moody kicking? Well, hey, the Packers have a rookie kicker that's been missing some kicks too. All things considered, Moody's been an average kicker this year. He's been above average when you look at the extra points. That NFL record, what was it, 60 straight extra points backed up from the 15-yard line. So on some level, this Moody stuff is irrational as well. I get that the 49ers had Robbie Gould before and he never missed in the playoffs, but he was missing in the regular season at about the same rate that Jake Moody missed this year. And Moody doesn't have any playoff attempts under his belt yet. So let's just wait and see how he does. You know, like he's been at least an average player that, just like any player filling into any position in a league that has to stay young, ultimately hasn't had his shot yet at the highest level at the playoffs. So let's just wait and see how he does. It's kind of like how we're waiting and seeing how Jordan Love is going to do against the 49ers. Everything is a question mark. Nothing is pre-scripted here. Everything's a question mark because on the biggest stage, you've got to prove your skills. You have to prove your ability to perform, and that's how legacies are made. Dan Nelson thinks that Bosa is going to kick ass. Jimmy G49 thinks that the 49ers are going to smash the Packers. The NFC Championship game against Green Bay was one of the greatest rushing performances in NFL history. The 49ers had 7 yards per carry. I think it was 6.8 at 6.9. We'll see what the average is this time, but they're definitely winning if it's 7 yards per carry again. Lions or Bucks? Who do I got? I think that the Lions are going to win. I think that they're going to ride that home field advantage. A lot of emotion in Detroit. How cool would that be? A 49ers Lions NFC Championship game at Levi Stadium. You had a Bay Cities Deli Godmother sandwich in Santa Monica. So the place is called Bay Cities in Santa Monica. I'm going to have to check it out. Bay Cities Deli Godmother sandwich. I've got a couple buddies who live down there. I visit every once in a while, so I'm gonna go. Here, I'm taking a screenshot of your comment. Just did. So that way I could go back after the show and log it into Google Maps. Best Italian sandwich in LA. Big bold claim. I had maybe the best breakfast sandwich I've had in my entire life today. And that was at Le Sandwich. Do you remember the Michelin starred chef that I was telling you about who made the awesome lunch sandwich? Well, today I went back and I said, I want the breakfast sandwich. And I believe that I can get this sucker up on the screen for you because it was that good. I think it's absolutely worth sharing this. Since we're in the mode of talking sandwiches, let's go. All right. We got it. Who's ready for this? There it is. Le Sandwich, North Beach on Columbus. So he added this mascarpone cheese, which is this very runny layer between the bread and the egg is the mascarpone cheese, and it was awesome. Like, I cannot say enough about this sandwich. You got bacon, you've got the egg, you've got the avocado, and then the extra ingredient is the mascarpone cheese. Just awesome. At Le Sandwich in North Beach. This deserves its own banner while we're here. We talk about elite composition of a football team. Well, this is elite composition of a sandwich. And when we talk about elite composition of a football team, that's why I delved into this right here with John Lynch and the 49ers this past week. This is the article that you need to read. We have a little paywall in front of me, but obviously you're going to have to sign up for The Athletic. I think you can get it for just a couple bucks a month. And you have access into the 49ers building of a dynasty back in 2017. If there's something that you need to read before this playoff run starts, it is this article about John Lynch and the 49ers culture. So, so much of this for the 49ers has been a cultural phenomenon. You could link it back to Bill Walsh. John Lynch actually played under Bill Walsh at Stanford. Walsh, when he took over the Stanford job after after he coached the 49ers, after he stepped down, he convinced John Lynch to stay aboard, and he saw a future as a safety. Bill Walsh had coached Ronnie Lott in San Francisco. John Lynch was a former quarterback. He came to Stanford as a quarterback. But Bill Walsh saw the ability to be a safety in the mold of Ronnie Lott in John Lynch. So he sat down with John and said, hey, don't go play professional baseball. Come back to school for another year. You can become a Pro Bowl safety in the NFL. That's how much of a genius Bill Walsh was. So he saw the football talent in his players, but he also was a genius in terms of building a culture, a healthy, cohesive environment, one that really encouraged people to climb the ladder, right? His assistant coaches got hired elsewhere. His executives got hired elsewhere. Together with Sean McVay's grandfather, Bill Walsh built a juggernaut. He built a dynasty in San Francisco. And John Lynch is linked to Bill Walsh. He played underneath him at Stanford. Really, really cool history. So I touched into that, but only briefly in this article. That's obviously the underlying connection. I'll delve further into that as we move forward and the 49ers get closer and closer to the Super Bowl. But what I really, really wanted to emphasize was the cultural steps that the 49ers have made ever since they moved from the hell of the Trent Baalke era when there was so much division inside the building. Shanahan and Lynch are on the same page. And any report that indicates that they're not is false. Like, we obviously have all the proof that we need right now. They've been on the same page since the very beginning. But this meeting with a Stanford professor, where they built their vision statement, the professor's name is Burke Robinson, is and I think will for decades be looked back on as the moment that the 49ers set the tone for the powerhouse that they have now built. And now that powerhouse is trying to win its first Super Bowl title, first for the franchise since 1995, the 1994 season. So anyway, I get into all of that. That is the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Burke Robinson piece. Make sure you do check it out. It's all over my Twitter. It's linked all over different parts of YouTube. Maybe I'll put up a YouTube community post about it in a little bit. But it's the type of article that I think it definitely will prepare you for playoff football. All right, back to 49ers Q&A. There we go. The Boys Deli. Yes. The Boys Deli is awesome. Big Niners fans at the Boys Deli. They're over on Polk Street in Russian Hill. Here we have some good perfection. Niner fan Mitch. He's been a fan of this team his whole life. Caught the tail end of the Young era. Had the few Garcia, Terrell Owens years, then the 3 Harbaugh years. The team has never had this fine-toned machine feel that it has now. I'm guessing Niner fan Mitch is about my age. I'm 35 because I caught the tail end of the Young era. I saw Garcia and Owens. I saw the Harbaugh years. I covered Jim Harbaugh at Stanford before he came to the 49ers, and I do believe that Niner fan Mitch is correct. Tommy Haverford says if the Niners get rolling on offense, he doesn't think that Green Bay can stop them. I tend to agree. That's why I'm picking the Niners to win this game. The 49ers will be in a good spot if they use the NASCAR defensive package. That means they've stopped the run. If you could stop the run, you can have some fun and you could bring in all those defensive ends to get after the passer, kind of like they did against Minnesota 2 years ago. Remember that? Or no, that was 4 years ago now. Wow, 2019 playoffs, 2020 season. That was impressive. D Ford lining up as a defensive tackle. That's when you know you don't have to worry about the run. When you got that guy, that light, able to work against those guards on the inside. How good is the Packers pass rush? They got a couple good players. They've got Rashawn Gary, the number 10 edge rusher in football, and Kenny Clark, who's the number 10 defensive tackle in terms of rushing the passer. He's coming up from the middle. Both of those guys can change the game at the snap of a finger, so you got to work on neutralizing them. Lucas Van Ness can rush the passer a little bit, but I think it's between those two, between Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary. Those are the two truly dangerous players on that Green Bay front. Who cares if the weather isn't promising? The Packers have to play in it too. Both teams have to play in the weather. These two teams played in a snow globe last time in the playoffs, and the 49ers won. 0 degrees or less, even colder than that. So look at it that way. Do I think the Packers secondary will get exposed? I think that the Packers just don't have a good defense. So I think the 49ers are in position to expose them. Yes. Why did the Packers defense look so good against Dallas? Well, they got off to a big lead. So I think you got to give the offense credit for scoring early. Dallas had to play comfort behind, and the Packers they were disguising some coverage as well. So they started preying on some of those Dak Prescott passes. They started jumping routes. They started doing what Dallas does to inferior opponents. The key in any football game is to play from ahead, especially with the style that the Niners and the Packers both play. Play from ahead. That way you can keep the defense on its heels, or at least play a close game, because as soon as you fall behind by a lot, then it becomes a pass heavy game where you lose offensive balance. Cowboys don't have a lot of balance to begin with, and Green Bay was able to gamble on some of those Dak Prescott passes. Joe Barry almost got fired after the Panthers game a few weeks ago when they gave up 30 points. It's not a good Green Bay defense. Don't worry about Green Bay's defense. It's not good. It's ranked number 27. They made a couple nice plays against the Dallas Cowboys, but the driving force of this Green Bay team is Jordan Love and the offense. This is crazy. Brian Smith is excited that Trent isn't going to retire anytime soon. This was a completely manufactured storyline. I don't know by who, content creators. Trent Williams never indicated that he was about to retire. He's under contract through 2026. He's playing top level football. He's enjoying the hell out of this 49ers locker room. Why was it ever a concern or a fear that he was going to retire? People just make stuff up. Like they make up negativity, they make up drama. I swear, it's crazy. I'm sure somebody was pushing it on some YouTube channel or on Twitter. I get it. I don't pay attention to that stuff. But I do pay attention to people commenting, like rejoicing that Trent Williams said he's going to play next year, when to me that was obvious the whole time. This was never, I mean, if we're going to be validating that Trent Williams is playing next year, we should probably go check with every single player in the 49ers locker room. Because there's guys on this team that are more likely to call it quits after this season than Trent Williams. But for some reason, we're not checking on them. So these false narratives, just at the end of the day, they end up pissing me off. That's pretty awesome that my wife thanks you, or thank that. I'm reading James's comment. My wife thanks you, David. That's pretty awesome that your wife thanks me for keeping you rational and calm. Thank you. Yeah, it's very unlikely that Green Bay wins it. The Packers are 10-point underdogs. They're not likely to win. They can win. They're not likely to win. The 49ers are rested favorites, and rested favorites have a big advantage for a reason. Yeah, no problem. And I obviously wasn't criticizing you. I was just like, where did all this come from? Because a lot of people start buying into it. And then you're like, wait, where was the origination of this smoke? Where there's smoke, there's usually fire, or sometimes fire, but sometimes there's a professional smoke maker. I think in this case, we had the professional smoke maker. I don't know what the 49ers do in the draft because I don't know where they're picking yet. They might be picking number 32. They hope to be picking number 32. Let's not talk about the draft right now. Let's wait. Let's push that down. This is the Super Bowl run right now for the 49ers. Alcatraz swim was back in October. I might do another one soon, but that one was back in October. The 49ers linebackers are going to have a massive impact on this game. The Packers linebackers are key too. Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, but they're not good. They're not good in coverage. Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are, and both of these offenses are like mirror images of each other as far as scheme and what they're trying to do adaptability wise. That makes the linebackers the most important position defensively to be able to guard against that. When the season is over, I will continue to do lives and updates. Yeah, I have in the past off seasons, so I don't know why I won't this time. Thank you for your contribution. I don't know exactly where visiting teams usually stay. The 49ers team hotels at Santa Clara Marriott. Everybody knows that, though. I don't know where the visiting teams stay, though. Yeah, I have said in the past that in 2021, the lack of rest was the 49ers' biggest downfall when it came to the NFC title game. The Packers are on a very similar road to the 49ers in 2021. You were right. The one seed means a whole heck of a lot. And the 49ers have it. They have the bye. They've rested for more than a week. Some of their star players got 2 weeks off, right? Because of the game against the Rams being meaningless. So the 49ers are now in the driver's seat that they so desperately wanted to have, but couldn't have back in 2021. Oh, yes. Did you tell him at Fambrini's that I sent you the chimichurri surf and turf? One of the best sandwiches in the world. Absolutely. Palo Alto. Thoughts on the Super Bowl window? It's wide open. Who's the 49ers defensive MVP for this game? Well, now we're getting into prediction mode. Eric Armstead. Stop the run, have some fun. He's been great against the Packers. What bar should I hit for the Lions Bucks game? I think we'll hit both the Kansas City and the Buffalo bars during the course of the Chiefs Bills game. I think that the Lions fans are starting to meet at Underdogs Cantina, which is by the ballpark in San Francisco, because that's where the Michigan fans would all meet up. So I think that there's obviously carryover there with the state of Michigan and the Lions. So I think that's where that's going to be. I don't know if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a bar. That might be the one team that doesn't have a bar, because I've never actually met a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. But if you let me know where to go, I'll go check it out. Somebody says the Purdy hate is a manufactured narrative. That's a great one. I might steal that. I might tweet that. When am I going to go eat In-N-Out? Not tonight. I had Chez Maman tonight, which was really, really damn good. In fact, I kind of wish that I could import it. It's still on my phone. I need to haven't imported the video. I had the best French onion soup, in my opinion, in the entire city tonight. Really good from Chez Maman. Actually, this might work. Just give me a second. I think we're in business here. If it loads, then you will have another visual treat. Burgers and fries are elite. Escargot is delicious. Well, how about the French onion soup? I present to you my appetizer
on my show tonight.
from tonight. Look at that. They put that in the oven and just bake that cheese de Gruyere. Oh, it was really, really damn good. This is a top 5 appetizer in San Francisco, the French onion soup. I mean, the burger might be the best in the city too. It was really good. Looks a bit gross. Somebody says that looks. How does that much melted cheese look gross to you? I mean, that's a statement of a heathen right there. That's kind of cool. Jim Everett, our resident Rams fan, is familiar with Visalia. That's where I'm from. That's where Mike is from as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I've heard that Pearl's Deluxe Burgers on Post Street is good. I've never been there, though. That's downtown. Yeah, we have a statement of a heathen. Anybody who says that this right here looks gross, that much melted cheese, that much tastiness. I mean, it's still bubbling from the heat. Anybody who says that that's gross, that is a statement of a heathen. Who wants to do a meetup at the Mooney and Walnut In-N-Out Burger in Visalia? Jim Everett's going to pay for the entire meetup. I'm down. Let's wait till after the Super Bowl, though, because I'm not going to be back in Visalia until at least then. Speaking of Visalia, Jordan Love is from Bakersfield. That's why I call him the Bakersfield Bandit. Earlier today, I made a show about the Bakersfield Bandit, and there's a place down the street where they have an elite breakfast burrito, and it's called Bandit. So I was like, okay, great. I'll show off the breakfast burrito and I'll talk about Jordan Love, the Bakersfield Bandit, along with Frank Gifford, along with the Carr brothers, Derek and David Carr, Cody Kessler, all those guys out of Bakersfield. Well, Jordan Love, the most recent Bakersfield product, playing quarterback in the NFL. I don't think the 49ers defensive backs will get exposed. No. I think that Green Bay is going to score some points, rack up some yards. As far as the 49ers DBs getting exposed, though, they didn't get exposed when it was Devontae Adams against Dante Johnson the last time these two teams played. So I think you should have a little bit more faith in the 49ers defensive backs. Only 163 likes. That's weak, says Andrew H. Yeah. Why don't everybody fix that? By the way, it's already Friday on the East Coast. So I think I'm not on the East Coast, but I think it's time for me to chill. I think it's time to finish the show. The question was, will the 49ers beat the Packers? The answer is yes. Much more coming before kickoff. We'll talk to you soon.